This is how I got into the headspace for the season, as I
Yeah.
just grew. I grew Terry's hairdo.
And you hear that theme in your head. Dun, no, 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 no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai.
Kidding.
Bonsai, I'm the Cobra Kai Kid, and today I am joined by the composers of Cobra Kai, Zach Robinson and Leo Birenberg, to talk about the epic new Cobra Kai Season 4 score. How are you guys doing today?
We are doing great.
We're so excited to chat with you, as always, our annual tradition.
Yes, it has become a tradition, and I am very thankful that you guys are here today, and also very excited to announce throughout this interview, we will be raising money for Best Friends Animal Society, which is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to saving the lives of homeless animals all across America. You guys want to talk about why you chose this organization to help today?
Yeah, I have a once homeless animal right behind me. His name's Gus. He's sitting right there. And since I've adopted Gus, become pretty I've become familiar with Best Friends, and they're national, so it's not just related to one state or one city. And if you're into dog rescue, cat rescue, animal rescue at all, they also help with if there's like a natural disaster or in some places, they help with that. So yeah, just wanted to support Best Friends.
Awesome. I'm a dog lover myself, so I love this cause. So if you guys want to donate, there should be a big blue donate button below this video, so you can help support either throughout this video or even after this interview is over. You can still donate. The fundraiser will be ongoing. So let's jump right into it. I have to ask, as fans of the show, because I know you two, not only do you two compose the music for the show, but I know you guys are both diehard fans. What did you think about Season 4 as a whole?
I think it's the best one so far.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because like the thing about Cobra Kai is like every season the world gets bigger, the world gets wider, we learn more backstories, and so when you get to the tournament as the climax, which we started in season 1 with the tournament, there's just like so much more that gets poured into it, and it feels like we've just like earned this huge like display of awesomeness, and I think it just makes the drama so great. Like I think it's hard to say like this season's better than this season because of XYZ, but I think in the context of this kind of long dramatic arc, season 4 is supremely satisfying.
Yeah, everything's built up to this, even
Exactly.
the music too.
Yeah. Definitely the music.
It's even also like a bit back to basics, like kind of back to like a season 1 type of vibe where you're in the dojo with them, you're kind of like learning with the students, things are building slowly to this finale. You're local, you're only in the valley, you're not in Okinawa. Like it's got that kind of a little bit of the season 1 vibe too. And I remember the showrunners had mentioned that before we even started, because season 3 was so large in scope that they needed to kind of bring it back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, even the tournament brought back Strike First, the theme that wasn't heard since the very first episode. So really going back to the roots.
That was a very early discussion that Zach and I had, actually. Because here we knew we don't read the scripts or anything. So we watch the episodes with John, Josh, and Hayden, and it's like our first impression when we spot them and decide where all the music's going to go. But they had told us months ahead of that, hey, there's this big montage in the opening of 9, and it's like, the training montage. And every dojo is going to be training, but we didn't really know this, like the specifics of it, but it was pretty clear like what it was going to be. And we started brainstorming the piece that became It's Karate Time. And one of our earliest discussions, like I feel like that piece was kind of born from like we would talk about it every few weeks, but not put any notes on the page. And one of our earlier discussions was, this is the time to bring back Strike First. And because like, well, for us, one of the really cool things about the piece Strike First is once the show went to Netflix and it became like the end's title music, like everybody knows it. And so we felt like we had to like do something with that material that we hadn't done before. And so that's kind of how that came to be.
Speaking of it's karate time, I made a prediction video on where I thought that track would be placed. I was so close. I said that it was going to be like introducing the dojos for the quarterfinals.
Yeah, you were pretty spot on.
You were very close.
We were talking about it. It was pretty funny to hear. Also, Watch Party did a pretty good like video where he was not far from what it was. Yeah, it's supposed to be, I think, like just the final 3 dojos, and it also, we were a little concerned that we released it early, if you remember, and we were concerned they weren't going to do that because we thought that the showrunners were going to think that it was spoilery because you're splitting up the dojos by theme, and people might say, wait, I thought Johnny and Daniel were teaming up. And in the song, if you're basing it off of like, you know, just the themes alone, they're separate. So I don't know, but no one seemed to care, and it worked out pretty well.
Well, it came out after the trailer, and people already knew they would be splitting it.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
I guess did you not know when that would come out?
We had a date, but
yeah,
you never know.
We weren't totally sure.
We didn't know the other, like when the trailers were coming out and all that stuff.
So what went into that decision? Because that hasn't been something that you guys have done in the past. So why that one track in particular, release it early?
That track just felt like such an overture for us of like using all the themes within the context of like one really fluid piece, and also introducing a new theme that we just kind of wanted everyone to guess about. And we just liked that, I don't know, so much of the kind of marketing campaign for the show was based around like the tournament. And, you know, this is also, without us overtly saying it, was like also had to do with the tournament. And it just felt like if the type of thing to do. Like, look, there's a lot of cool music in the show, but it's not, I don't think it excites us to like release one random action cue out of context early. But this felt like it might be in the show, it might not be in the show, but it's like it sounds so Cobra Kai. So that was the thought.
It was long too. I mean, it's one of our
it was long. It's like a full listening experience.
Yeah.
I was, when I first heard it, I was trying to think like what this could be, and I was like, it definitely has to be a montage because of like all the different places it's going from Cobra Kai to Miyagi-Do to Eagle Fang to Strike First. It's got to be some sort of montage. So I loved it. I love that theme.
Thank you.
So what has the whole response been ever since the season 4 soundtrack release?
Freaking epic.
freaking epic is true. Like, you know, fans of the show love the soundtrack albums, which like we are really grateful for. But we feel like even more so this season, like the response has been unbelievable. Like people are hyped about it.
We also I feel like we didn't get as much. We've always gotten love, but this year in particular, we've gotten a lot of love from like the Cobra Kai social accounts. So like they're like tweeting and posting about it all the time, and like that helps because it really hypes people up. And like, it really, I mean, it makes a difference. We see the back end on the listening on the streams and stuff like that. It's like all that stuff made a difference for sure.
Yeah. So with Cobra Kai like having gone to Netflix and like become such a big show, you have like every now and then those celebrities tweet about the show and you're like, oh shoot, they watch it. So did any celebrity that you guys maybe didn't know listen to the music actually like tweet about it and then caught you off guard?
It's funny to find out who is like into the show.
It's funny because like every Sunday Night Football, there's like some Cobra Kai reference. We're always tweeting about like we're watching football and there's some
like,
reference.
There's always somebody like sacks the quarterback and you hear like, oh, sweep the leg.
Yeah. We like that.
It's cool that the whole show is like caught up in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I think like a football player like did the crane as a celebration or something.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Alabama receiver.
It's awesome. So Quiver was the original Cobra Kai Dojo theme for season 1, season 2, and then when you had Kreese take over the dojo, it transitioned into Awake the Snake, and then Kreese's theme as overall. But I'm curious, like, what's it like? You know, because in the story you have the students always switching dojos, going from here to here, new senseis, new all these different things happening. So like what's it like adjusting themes, having certain themes for certain dojos, and then a character switches and you have to move those themes around?
It's hard.
Getting complicated.
Yeah.
It is like there's a lot, especially because like we've heard these themes in various like tones over the first 3 seasons, and so there is a lot to draw from, but we're pretty particular with when we use a theme for a certain character or idea. And yeah, it's getting complicated. It involves us making a lot of decisions, but I think there is a certain amount of quiver that always belongs to Hawk / Eli, as you saw in episode 9 when he kicks Kyler's ass. That was important to us to bring back a very like original cut sounding of quiver. But there's a lot, that theme really weaves its way into a lot of the like dramatic underscoring too. And I think we try not to overthink it too much sometimes, but it's usually has to do to some degree with that like core group of Johnny's Cobra Kai students, you know, whether it's Miguel or Hawk or, you know, whomever, like it's sort of tied up with that population.
There is one thing I remember we discussed this and we ended up landing on it because it's in the cut. I mean, it's in there. But when Cobra Kai wins the girls' tournament,
we do use it there.
We use it there, and that one I remember we were like, should we do it here? Like, but we felt like I was like, okay, it's still Cobra Kai. Like as you said it's still kind of Cobra Kai. It's just under different management, and like. We like the theme. Like we want to use the theme.
Yeah, we want to use the theme.
We want to use it.
that spot was interesting because when Tory wins, we had to decide kind of like how celebratory it was going to be and for who, because you're simultaneously seeing these shots of Sam lose and Tory win, and you know the audience watching has all picked a favorite. You know, so you need to serve both of them, and I think we found this kind of pensive tone that then eases us into more of a celebration, and it does use that theme, which worked very well for that emotion.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you brought that up because you have 3 victory themes for the tournament, and season 1 was a very sad theme. You had the father and son theme, definitely, you know, even though it was Miguel, the person we've been rooting for the whole season, you know, there was that bittersweet feeling. So the music definitely didn't sound like as much of a victory as we thought. And then I'm curious with season 4. So you had Tory, you wanted to show that mix of sadness and happiness, but Hawk, what was the decision with making Hawk's theme sounded more celebratory? Yeah. Even Robby, you know, who we cared about, lost the tournament. What was the discussion between like choosing like Hawk's victory music and Tory's victory music?
There's something funny about the quick kind of funny thing about that area is that what you hear in the final version was actually our second pass at it, and our first pass was
for the Hawk
victory. For the Hawk victory, our first pass was the same kind of theme, which was our tournament theme, and it was very 80s out. Like it was big power drums, like a big power ballad, guitars, everything, and Josh and Andy were like, you gotta dial it back a little bit. Yeah, which is one of the very few times they've told us to dial it back. Like normally we can't go big enough.
It was a good note.
It was a good note because what's in there now
turned out great.
Leo used a good word. I think pensive is a good. There's like a bit of like there's something like subdued about it. Like it's very introverted. It doesn't feel as like bombastic for both victories, Tory and Hawk. It's not bombastic. It's like they really came to an end on their own.
Yeah, I will say that the Hawk victory, you really see him celebrating more, which is why it's like a little happier. Whereas like even the Tory victory, you like Tori isn't even sure how to feel about it at first. You can tell from like the look on her face.
And she
And then
apologizes to
it's
Sam.
more about everyone else sweeping her up into their celebration, and then like KREESE being presented with the trophy for the tournament. And so there's a slight perspective shift there, because in the Hawk wins, you don't really spend so much time dwelling with like Robby, the loser, until after. It's not until the scene after that you really see his reaction. And so we could lean a little more positive into that one.
So what instruments did you guys specifically play for season 4?
All of them, except all the ones we didn't.
The same ones we normally play.
Same ones we normally do. Zach plays like a lot of the guitar, or puts down the first pass of the guitar, and then we'll replace it later. We both program a lot of synthesizers. There's a lot of keyboards from both of us. I play a lot of stuff on this instrument called an iwi, which is just like an electric saxophone. And it doesn't make any sound by itself, but it can control other stuff. And I've got like a thing that has all these custom sounds on it back here, and I can play.
Turn it up, bump it up a little bit. Did you play on the iwi Sam's kata? No.
Oh.
Did I play
Sam's kata moment? Her like
no.
Yes, I did. There's let's see.
I love that moment.
It's like one of my favorites.
Yeah, let me find
It sounded like there was like a lot of stuff going on there with that one.
Oh my god, yeah, that's a big one.
Leo's
I'll find this for you. Zach, talk about something while I find this.
While he finds it, just the part that I'm talking about is when Daniel tells Sam to fight her way in the.
I can't remember what key it's in that.
That's the key, I think, but it's higher. Nice.
All right, that was an awful performance, but yeah, like that, for example. So there's like we play tons of stuff all over the place, and as you know, these tracks are very dense, so there's a lot going on.
Yeah. How many different instruments were going on with that one part with the Sam kata?
I mean, there's iwi, there's like probably like 8 different synth keyboards all playing stuff, because there's that like ding ding goom 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 thing going on. There's the amount of percussion in that cue is insane. There's probably like 50 tracks of just all the drum. I mean, that cue starts on that like slow-mo with Tori with that like gong 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 gong, and like to find that sound, we layered so many different drums specifically to get like what we wanted to sound really. There's a lot of big percussion in Hollywood music, and we wanted it to imply that kind of weight but also sound specific to the show. And so it was, we spent a lot of time shaping that sound. But that was definitely one of our busier tracks. Bonsai Badass, this is the one we're talking about.
I just like hearing you guys talk about these tracks. It just seems like there's so much work, and there's so many soundtracks. And then forget like the soundtracks on the album, the episodes themselves have all these different little musical cues. Like, does it get overwhelming, like having to like write all of this yourselves in only a couple months?
Sometimes
it's definitely
overwhelming. I think, but like it is nice to have 40 episodes under your belt, or when we were working on it 30, because it's like we know the themes, we know the vibe. The hardest part of like starting a project when you do it is like finding the sound and finding the themes and what you're gonna do, and then once you have that, things start to write themselves. Like when there's a 2-minute scene, and it's like Johnny talking to Miguel, and you put kind of Johnny's story over it, like that kind of theme, the cue's almost done. by the time you're done playing through the whole melody.
Yeah, I think we have a really keen understanding of like the characters now and how to like score them and like to like be on the journey with them. And so it's really a matter of like how we're going to apply our ideas. And you know, there's some stuff that is super detail oriented, like some of these big action cues, but there's a lot of it that comes out surprisingly quickly just because we've done it so many times now that we kind of, you know, get it.
So I know on previous soundtracks you've had to change the titles. I know like in our last interview you mentioned you had to change Fallen Soldier was originally Fallen Diaz, you know, because if people look at the soundtrack, you don't want to spoil it. So I'm curious, were there any tracks for season 4 that you wanted to name a certain thing but couldn't because spoilers?
There was one called Hawk Wins.
Yeah,
there's a really called it that.
That was also like floating around like on sheet music and everything like that. It was like we should not have this title anywhere.
KREESE goes to jail.
Yeah.
What else did we? I feel like we didn't change that much.
So we change a lot of titles from when we write them to the soundtrack just for our own, because sometimes our titles when we're working on them are a little boring. One that is. So the Spanish guitar cue when that is what is it called on the soundtrack?
The fight I have to face.
The fight I have to face. We actually while we were it's so ridiculous. While we were working on that, we called it Fleeing Diaz because like same.
It's an inside joke for us.
Yes. So we name a lot of things that are like inside jokes for us based on like other things in the context of the process. But this year we basically made the decision that I imagine we will stick with from now on, which is like to have the soundtrack come out a full week after the show. And it means that we don't have to like freak out about security quite as much because then you're out of like the spoiler window.
Right.
So we try to just name everything like tastefully in a way that we think will like, you know, stand the test of time as people are listening, and doesn't overtly spoil anything necessarily too much, like, because those aren't usually cool titles anyway.
All the names that we had during the tournament for those 2 episodes, all the cue titles in our like spreadsheet when we were working on it were just all the fights. So it was like Diaz Moskowitz, like Sam Piper, like, and it got actually really confusing. Like there were way too many fights. And
then you had like snippets within each fight, right?
Yeah, each fight kind of has its own like personality. That's kind of what we were going for.
I wish, for me personally, I wish the soundtrack would come out the day the show comes out because I just want to listen to it. But I do get the decision because when the series comes out, everyone's watching the series, but by releasing a week later, right? Did that go into the decision?
We get our own week.
You have your own day.
Yeah. We get our own window. Yeah.
I like that. I think you know it's tough, you know, because I want to listen to the music. But I remember season 2, I was like, I think I was like on episode 5 of my watch, and I was like, oh, I wonder if the soundtrack's up. And I went on my phone. I'm like, oh, it's up, but I can't look. Spoilers. I did listen to Miyagi-Do Fix Up though, because I like that one.
Nice.
Excellent. That's a classic.
Yeah. Okay. The big topic, Thomas Ian Griffith, Terry Silver. This is probably the biggest thing with season 4 for me with the music. His theme is so iconic. So I want to know, like, when did you find out? When did like John, Josh, and Hayden tell you, okay, Terry Silver is returning. You guys are going to be scoring this character?
Early. And I just want to say, like, Thomas Ian Griffith is incredible. I'm sure everyone watching agrees. Like, he is such an amazing actor, and his screen presence is unbelievable. I mean, the dude is like so tall also. He is a black belt in maybe several martial arts. He is a trained pianist, and I believe a trained opera singer. I think I read, like, he's like The guy is basically Leonardo da Vinci. I'm convinced. Like, and man, he brought so much firepower to the season, and I just think it was amazing. So it was really a privilege to to score his performance. Zach, Terry Silver music. What have we
I think
got?
well, as always with this show, like we introduce a new character or we get we always try to have our own thing that's separate from the movies, and this was no exception. And Terry Silver's the Bill Conti Terry Silver theme is a lot of fun, and it's a really like iconic kind of vibe and piece of music. And we just wanted to have our own Terry Silver theme while drawing, as we always do, from like inspiration from the original soundtrack. So we have moments of those kind of like outbursts of like Vivaldi style orchestra for Terry, but this is kind of a new Terry. And Hayden very early on specifically had been kind of telling us that like musically he kind of always pictured Terry as in season 4 as this man who's got a lot of things like bubbling within him, and there's a lot of emotion, and whether it's insanity or anger or pain or whatever, like that he wanted that to kind of be building throughout the season. So we have this like ostinato that kind of gets introduced that goes do 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 do, and you hear that like in Sensei Silver on the album. You'll hear it in a lot of cues, and that's kind of the bubbling of Terry Silver. And then we have his theme, which let's see if I can even play it. It's yeah, that's it. Right, Leo?
Oh yeah.
So that's his theme, and we were excited because season 4 we use it a lot, but like we did not go as hard as we can go with that theme. I think season 5 is when we're really gonna like see how far we can get and really push it.
Which we should say we know like literally nothing about season 5. Like we haven't watched anything. Yeah. So this is our conjecture. We're very excited to expand it. He's kind of we toss around the term like he's kind of like a Bond villain in some ways. He's like just like his acting style and his like screen presence. And Zach's like favorite scene in the whole show is in episode 8 when he's on the phone with Johnny and there's like a fish tank in the back like behind him, and it's like panning up, and we were just like head cannoning that to be like, oh god, it's a piranha tank. Like he's such a Bond villain. So like a lot of the music like with Terry is trying to like kind of expand on this like, I don't know, just like that vibe. Like a lot of the harmony we use, and it's really fun.
Yeah, that scene was so good. And what I liked about that in particular was it was Johnny and Silver who really had never interacted. Yeah. Even though they met in the backyard, they didn't even speak. This was their first like Sensei Lawrence breaking and entering. Are we like this is their first interaction? Right. And like as you said, it felt very like Bond meeting like a brand new villain for the first time.
Yes.
We love that.
And like one of my favorite like details about this season is just that like Johnny Lawrence has no freaking clue what happened in Karate Kid 3. Like one of my favorite lines of the whole season is when he's just like, who the hell was that? Like after they show up at the dojo. And so like that, I mean, but that's what like John, Josh, and Hayden are so good at with like, you know, expanding and manipulating the property that they have inherited. Yeah.
So I'm curious. So you guys created like your own themes for Terry Silver, and Zach, I definitely with you mentioning that kind of like he always has something bubbling. When you look at like KREESE's theme, it has like a beginning and the end, like that his little riff. But yeah, Terry Silver's theme, like especially like when he's talking to Robby, you know, man can't stand, he can't fight. It's like, oh yeah, it feels like it's just the music just keeps. It's like da 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 da. It's like gonna go somewhere, and like you don't know where it's gonna go, when it's gonna strike, because he's just always got something up his sleeve. Is that the symbolism?
Yeah,
he's such an unpredictable character that like And I think this really speaks to Thomas Ian Griffith's performance, is like, you're just like kind of on the edge of your seat and you don't know why every time he's on screen. I mean, because like your memory of Terry Silver is this insanely unstable, like over the top guy. And like his performance is so nuanced. And so you just never know what's about to happen. And so we were always trying to capture that. Like, this guy's really scary, but you're not really sure why. And maybe he's not, but like, yeah, that scene with Robby in the dojo is
It's crazy.
like,
He's massive.
really,
He's huge.
he's huge.
And he like runs at Robby. It's really scary.
I think when you really see his height is when he's having that conversation with Kenny in episode 7, and the camera's like that, because they get like the over the shoulder shots. So if they're showing Kenny, who's like this, it's like they have to tilt the camera up to look at Thomas. Like, it's so jarring.
Yeah.
Totally.
Just shows the height.
It's
tall, man.
He's amazing. Yeah.
I watched that video of him kicking the cup that he like sent to John, Josh, and Hayden. Like, they asked him if he could still kick, and he just sent them that video of him just like doing a roundhouse kick and knocking a cup off of like a gym bag. And it's like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I watched it like 50 times.
So, with Bill Conti's original score and you guys creating your own tracks, I'm curious, like, were you allowed to do renditions of Bill Conti's theme? Because you guys created like separate themes. Any like discussion of kind of taking like that original theme, maybe doing something different to it?
It's always discussed, and like we've done that a little bit in previous seasons. With Terry, we wanted not to do that because we wanted like modern day Terry to feel separate from Karate Kid 3 Terry. And there were moments when they were actually going to use the original recording of the Conti thing, like when KREESE gets arrested and when they show up, when they walk into the dojo, is it? And so those moments are so kind of self-contained in their referentialness that like we kind of wanted to leave that material in those boxes. And I think it worked. I think it achieved a good balance.
Mm-hmm.
So you never scored any of that original piece by Bill Conti. That was all music taken from the third movie.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know you guys are still you can't really talk about season 5, but is that like a decision that you guys are set on? Like we're gonna have original music for Silver and then only bring in the Conti theme when John, Josh, and Hayden, like, we'll never like do a rendition of it. Is that kind of
they are very like, we don't choose when Conti comes in. When they use the like piece of music from the Karate Kid, like if it's lifted, like literally the exact same piece of music, the same recording, that's generally either in the script or John, Josh, and Hayden have like explicitly said, we want to call back the original music.
Yes.
For example, like those examples when Leo Sabateri, when he's putting his hair in the ponytail, like
as I am doing right now.
Yeah, they wanted the exact music from the movie. So when we score, if we did not create a theme for Terry, we would be kind of stuck in a rut because we wouldn't have the new material to score him going forward in the series. And it doesn't, there's also a whole kind of like technical licensing side of this thing where like we can't really use Conti's material all the time anyway. So like, because we didn't write it and it's like a whole separate thing. So we like to, we've done that with all the other characters. Like we felt like it was good for us to do Terry, and when they want to call back to something really particular, they'll just use it, and they're not shy about that.
Yeah. Leo, I might have to clip that video of you putting your ponytail in and put the Terry Silver music over it.
by all means, do it.
Like literally the exact same piece of music, the same recording, that's generally either in the script or John, Josh, and Hayden have like explicitly said, we want to call back the original music.
Yes.
For example, like those examples when Leo Sabateri, when he's putting his hair in the ponytail, like
as I am.
Yeah, they wanted the exact music from the movie. So when we scored, if we did not,
I didn't have a hair tie in my pocket, so now I'm back to hair down.
The OG Cobra Kai Terry Silver, the hair down.
yeah,
Oh yeah. This is how I got into the headspace for the season, as I just grew Terry's hairdo.
It's like you hear that theme in your head. Dun, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
So my favorite musical moments from season 4. There was a lot of this, and I'm sure you guys like this in particular. When anyone would use Miyagi-Do in a fight, you have those Miyagi-Do instruments. Leo, what was the name of it? Iwi?
Yeah, but this is like a shakuhachi flute.
Yeah, so like when Johnny's doing the wax on, wax off, you get like those like themes.
Oh yeah.
And when Robby was, I think my favorite use of that was Robby doing it in what was it? Land a Hit? Is that the name of the track?
Yeah, when it calls back like some similar sounds, although they're playing like a different riff, but it's very similar to when he was training with Daniel in like 107. Is that?
Yeah.
I
love Dark Miyagi-Do. We have a track called Dark Miyagi-Do on the album, but that's what we call the bum 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 bum. We just change one note, and it makes it dark. Play normal.
It's normally, and so we changed to
Power of Music.
Love that.
That's how, yeah.
I love that, and that moment, like that tears your heart apart, because you see the Cobra Kai's using Miyagi's techniques, but I love like the music, just like all those like flutes, and like there's so many different instruments that come in when they're using the Miyagi-Do. Like, did you guys like particularly enjoy scoring those parts where like you have like Silver fighting Johnny, and you hear the snake fight theme, and then all of a sudden like you get out of that theme and it goes into like slow motion Miyagi-Do, Johnny, paint the fence, all that?
Yeah, I mean, we live for that. That's the fun stuff in film scoring, and especially in Cobra Kai, where I think we have wide liberty to like really go at it hard.
Yeah. Okay, I have to reveal to you my favorite track from the whole entire album. This is the big moment. I have listened to this nonstop, and that track is Basketball.
Oh, yes! I wasn't expecting Basketball.
Amazing.
Love it.
It's my favorite track. It is the catchiest song ever. It's beautiful. So I love it. And judging from your reactions, I'm sure you guys,
we love it. That's one of those things. I was just
thinking, can we play that? Can we play that live, or is it too insane?
Oh, please.
It might be. I don't know. I think we could play anything live. I think we love that because we some of the hardest things to score in this show. It's not the fights. It's not like the legacy Karate Kid stuff. It's like the new kids. Like that's kind of sometimes we owe, especially when you're introducing new kids. We're like, what are we gonna do for like these 8th graders on this show? Like, how do we score this? And keeping with just like our 80s vibe, we just kind of went with something that was like very in this like late 80s style kind of synth funk track, and we were like, let's just see if this gets approved. Like, it's fun, it's it's got a little bit of sass to it. I think that helps it, and it got approved, and we were like, great, like this opens some doors for us. And then we just kind of ran with it the whole season, and we were like, we should have been doing this earlier.
Leo?
Zach said it all perfectly. It's so we can get really meta in terms of like how we like when we kind of find a style we want to live in for a little bit. Like to us, like that's how the show made in like 1988 would sound if it was like about middle school kids playing basketball. Like that's just what it would sound like.
Yeah,
So
that's
like,
a good way
why
to put
wouldn't
it.
Cobra Kai sound the same? Like
It makes me laugh. Thinking about that exists makes me laugh, and it makes me very happy when people notice it.
It's so good. When I saw that scene for the first time and hearing the music, and it makes you feel like you're watching. It's like it makes you feel like the show's taking place in the 80s. When you see that
Exactly.
basketball scene,
Yeah.
everyone in the gym shirts.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a modern day, and I love it so much. And then just the upbeat theme, bum, just like that, like ongoing thing with the drums, and then obviously the best part is the little motif when Anthony sees Leah. Oh yeah, you guys got.
wow, I didn't even play a wrong. I didn't even
That's
play
nice.
a wrong note.
Drew, we never play these actually. Like we program them. Yeah.
Yeah.
This would be a good patch of that, actually.
This is like what we. Yeah. And then you hear. And
this is basically how we write music.
This is how we write music, and then we use that same material. You'll hear on the album on the track "Ghost Boy," which is like kind of a suite. It's a suite of like Kenny, Leah, Anthony, like when they're just like talking throughout the episodes.
It is such a good theme, and I'll be honest with you. Like I put on my headphones and have nothing else in my head, and like that theme like is just such a bop. I just like do these like random dance moves. I feel like Kenny in episode 2 dance. I'm like I was basically doing what Kenny did when he's like dancing in the bus stop with his headphones. That's what I do with basketball.
I'm gonna throw out a name here just because his music was inspiring to this sequence. But a friend of mine named Ed Gamper, he goes by Sunglasses Kid. That's his like artist name, and he makes music that's just like basketball, but like 100 times better. It's like so. It's if you like that vibe of basketball, go check out his music. It's incredible.
Definitely, and the theme sounds like it has like similar vibes to the Sam and Robby theme or the Sam and Miguel theme. Was that intentional?
I think so, because it's kind of like in the it's in the kids' world. Right? Like, that's kind of how we always have scored the kids.
We always score the kids with kind of more of an electronic or synth wave slant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love the whole middle school arc. So I thought it was really cool that you guys brought in its own theme to make it really feel like its own storyline. Mm-hmm. And it just has that like such like uplifting feeling to it. And then you have Kenny's theme. You guys made a theme for Kenny, which is a little more depressing. What was it like, scoring him and the newer characters?
Well, we knew he was going to need a theme because he was clearly going to have like an arc that was going to, we were going to need to have something to take somewhere. And so I think we kind of came up with that the first time you hear his theme is when he's on the phone with his dad, I think. And then you hear it again at the end of episode 2 when he's like alone walking in the hallway talking about being bullied. And then there's kind of another element with like usually when we write like a theme, we try to come up with like, it's not just a melody there. It's like a bit of like a palette, like a flavor palette for the character. And so like in that case, we had this melody, and then we also like wanted some kind of like recognizable accompaniment thing. And so we kind of came up with this like cool synth ARP when it's like revealed that he's talking to Sean because he's Sean's brother. And there's this cool like DX7 ARP going on. And we ended up like bringing that back later when he's it's very, very much like that.
It sounds like the Hawaii Five-O theme song.
Yeah, it does.
Anyway, that ends up coming back like in the tournament a little bit. You hear it on strings, and so we, you know, whenever we have a new character, we're kind of trying to build out their palette so that we have stuff to work with.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the setup of Kenny and Anthony and like those kids, especially in season 5. You know, I know you guys don't know anything, but like just as a fan, like if Anthony joins karate, I am so excited to see like what music you guys use for that.
What they did with Anthony for season 4 was genius. Like,
yeah, I thought
like,
it was genius.
Talk about taking a character that like no one thought of and was just the butt of a joke for 3 seasons, and then like making it a really important character. And also the actor whose name I'm spacing on, he's amazing. And it's like,
he's amazing.
How do they know that this kid is going to be like really good when they cast him at 11, when he turns 16, you know, 40 or 15, and like he nailed it. He did a great job.
Yeah, definitely. They cast him at such a young age. A lot of these kids, and you know, they're growing up, they're changing completely. He looks so different, but still, he really knocked it out of the park, and he looks like the next Karate Kid.
I know. It's like it's kind of the way that the actors are is kind of like analogous to us too, in the sense that you know, John, Josh, and Hayden probably knew where the show was going to go in terms of scope, but like we didn't. And I don't know if the actors did or not, but like Leo and I didn't. And our season 1 score is really different from like our season 4 score in terms of how it's evolved. And like they trusted that we were going to be able to kind of step up with them every season, but that's a gamble in a sense, you know, when they, for everyone that they hire on the show, are they going to be able to like step up with every season and like really up their own game? And like, we're happy that we've been able to like keep up, but it can be like, there's a lot of pressure sometimes. There's pressure on us too. Like we set our own pressure, like starting up season 5, Leo and I, like we're first of all still exhausted from season 4, but also like we were really happy with what we did. And we're like, how are we going to beat it? Like, we have to beat it. There's no choice.
Right.
We have to beat it.
But we don't even know, like, we don't even know how, like, what the opportunities to beat it are going to be yet. So I'm sure once that comes, like, there will be inspiration in the way that the tournament was inspiration this time around. You know, like this, aside from the It's Karate Time thing and the new theme, like this year's tournament, I'm sure you could tell, Drew, had like a huge shift in tone from previous karate fights, where like it was a lot less emphasis on the fun and a lot more on like the bloodthirsty, you know, like fight to the death. Like it was brutal, and we wanted to reflect that in the music, and within that there was a lot of inspiration for coming up with all those individual fights.
Yeah. And with the tournament, you know, you were talking about like how like now it's this completely different tone, especially from season 1. The main reoccurring tournament theme was like the quiver theme and like that orchestral sound. But for season 4, you guys went with a totally completely different thing, and there were so many different tracks. Each fight was its own thing. You never really had any one reoccurring theme. I know you have the tournament theme, but that wasn't really used for the fight. So what was that like? Like, what was the approach going into the tournament of like what sounds you were going for, what you wanted to do for that?
It's a good question.
We wanted to emphasize like the violence of it, like as barbaric as that sounds. You know, it was we wanted it to feel like the same intensity as some like, I don't know, giant, not just action movie, but like a dark action movie. And so that was like the starting sound for like how to come up with the palettes. Like you still hear a lot of like themes in the various fights in different ways, depending on what fight it is. But, you know, we were trying to, we didn't want it to be mistaken for any other spot up until now in the score.
And there's a turn too, like episode 9, it's kind of like the split happens episode 9, and then at the kind of the front third of episode 10. And then when the announcer Daryl is announcing the boys finale, and we're like gearing up for that fight, that's literally like the turn.
Yeah, that's where it turns to this kind of very different tone up until the tournament's over, basically.
Yeah, that part with like the fighting and the music, it's like in the beginning it felt like a tournament, and then when you get to there, it's like these guys are trying to kill each other, taking off their shirts. Nothing in the world matters except for like these two trying to kill each other.
Exactly. That was our entire intention.
Yeah.
My favorite single, Zach's gonna laugh because he knows what I'm gonna say, but my favorite single frame of the entire season is after Daryl goes sudden death overtime, and like there's a wide shot and the crowd like stands up and cheers, and there's this huge like boom, and it's like, to me, like I just like literally die thinking of this like gymnasium full of like bloodthirsty karate moms who want to watch these two like fucking ripped teenage boys fight to the death, like right in front of it. It's like the most like insanely like Roman like thing that I can like possibly imagine. Like we wanted to out gladiator there, and so that is like my favorite single frame in the entire season, and the hit that goes along with it.
Yeah, and then it goes right into that tournament theme, and it shows Robby and Hawk both like looking at
when
the
they
crowd.
bow. And yeah,
that moment before. What were you like trying to like kind of express with that moment, like where they were looking at the crowd?
To bounce off like what Leo was saying about Gladiator. So you have the bloodthirsty mom shot, and that's kind of when it's like sinking in to Robby and Hawk that like, oh shit, we got to keep going. And then there's the other wide shot that happens on the bum bum bum, and it's from behind Hawk looking into the stands, and it's always, to me, it's like the thing that I imagine going through their heads is just like it's like Gladiator. Like, are you not entertained? Like, are we not giving you what you want? Like, you people, like, we're fighting for our lives here. And then they look at each other and they go like, you son of a bitch. Like, I don't like you, but I respect you. And then they batter each other, and they needed to be stoic and like heroic. And I think the whole thing is just it's like so relentless. Like every fight is so relentless, and we needed the music to like, they're so long. These fights are really long, and the music is like always going and like escalating and escalating. It's wild.
I always felt like they were going back to their senseis and like saying goodbye for the last time before they like died on the mat. And like there's this mutual understanding that like that's what the stakes are when, once sudden death overtime is announced. And like as you can see, like we put a lot of thought into like the, I don't know, our like how we're interpreting what's happening on screen, and that, like that's how we come up with that shit.
There's so many different tracks, and it's just crazy. That tournament especially just has like so many different elements, so many different things going on between the music and the story. It's a completely different vibe from season 1, but it's fitting for it because of all the different characters, and as you guys mentioned, the stakes are higher now than ever.
And our understanding of all the characters in the world is so much broader that there's a lot to work with.
Yeah. So I believe you mentioned that one of the first songs that you've ever composed for Cobra Kai was Ace Degenerate. So I'm curious, what was it like in season 4? You always deal with Ace Degenerate on the guitars. What was it like, getting to play the flutes and the Miyagi theme for Johnny's Ace Degenerate?
Yeah. No Be There. That's my favorite.
That's my favorite. Be There. Yeah.
The little flute playing Ace Degenerate. I love that.
Really, really fun. Like that is it made us laugh while we were doing it. I think it like makes you laugh in the show. Like it's but it's all very genuine. There's just a lot to work with when you're starting the season and like Johnny and Daniel are working together, there's like an element to the score that is similar to something we did last season with that track, The Good, the Bad, and the Badass, where you kind of have these different styles like mashed up against each other. And now they kind of get to like, swap genetic material a little bit. And so, there's a lot of that in the first half of the season.
I love that. That was I got chills when I heard that. Just Johnny's theme, because Johnny's theme is just always such a, soft rock, just Johnny being cool, and now you have like the Miyagi vibes to it.
Yeah. And also we do the opposite. We do like Miyagi-Do on guitar a lot. Like Divide and Conquer, you hear like and then like that's in Divide and Conquer, right? And then we also do Quiver in Miguel. It's like this like ballet version of that's what we call it, ballet version of Quiver. But that was so much fun. That was kind of like we knew we were gonna do a lot of that even before we started season 4.
When I first looked at the soundtrack and I saw Miguel, I feel very funny saying it. When I first saw it, it took me like 5 seconds. What? And then I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I know you guys must have so much fun naming that one.
Oh yeah.
Leo, do you have a favorite name on the soundtrack? I think I have 2.
I might need to look actually.
I think one of my favorites, I don't even know why, I think it's just so tight, is Fangs of Fury. I just like
that is
love that name. I love Fangs of Fury. I'm trying like we have
Streets of Reseda is a real good one. Is a real good one. I actually think like Queen Cobra is a pretty sick name, even though it's like that was an easy one to come up with. It's just very cool. Oh wait, I'm a big fan of our dual giant fantasy epics that we allude to. So first you got A Storm of Senseis, which is if you are a fan of the Game of Thrones books, A Storm of Swords is one of the books. and that's literally what we called it while we were working on it. It was just kind of like a weird thing. And then at the tournament in the end, we've got a track called The Fellowship of the Dojos when Johnny and Daniel decide they're finally going to team up for real this time.
What's funny though is like we name these, we watch these episodes down and then we put it all in like a database and like a spreadsheet. And we have to name the cues in order to put them in the spreadsheet. And sometimes it's the first thing that comes to our head. So like we watched episode 10 and we're like, this is like Fellowship of the Dojos. Like it's like Lord of the Rings. Like that's the vibe I get. And then the cue gets written in the style of like Howard Shore scoring Fellowship of the Ring. So it's like sometimes they just kind of like inform the way that we're gonna write it.
Another good one is Mecha Robby.
Oh yeah, Mecha.
Because it's like a very Zach. I feel like you should talk about the Mecha tradition.
I feel like it's funny that we kept that because that was such an inside joke, and then we just the part when Robby KREESE says like, "Are you fighting your friend or your opponent?" And then they actually, when I watched it down, they cut. It used to be really long.
There was a big
gap, like zooming into Robby, and then he goes. And when he does it, and he just turns into like Mecha Robby. It's like robot, destroy, kill, a la Terminator, or
it's like someone said the passcode, and he no longer is in control of his brain. And he's like a Russian sleeper agent who's like,
exactly, Manchurian Candidate style.
He's gonna murder the president now.
And then we just kept it, and everyone's like, okay. Like, and John, Josh, and Hayden are like, sure, call it Mecha Robby. Like, whatever. We get away with so much.
That song, I love that song. It was kind of like the dojo from hell for season 4.
Yes.
Also, like a fun name, not like why.
Dojo from hell. Yeah.
No one says that in the show. We just call it Dojo from Hell, which we use. Drew, did you hear Dojo from Hell in a lot of the Tory Sam fights? We use that a lot in Bonsai Badass. Especially.
At the beginning, my favorite is the beginning of Queen Cobra. There's like it's in a different time signature, so it's hard to pick up on. But the low string part is going like boom, 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 and it's just like it's fucking cool that way.
Right. Cobra effect. I always forget. That's
right. I mean, that's where it first was born, right?
Right. Yeah.
Cobra effect.
Mm-hmm.
Love that theme. So I wanna actually show you guys a clip from our interview from, I believe this was 1.5 years.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I'm gonna play the clip for you guys, and then we'll talk about it after. Okay. You
Okay.
ready for it? All right. Here we go. The one soundtrack which I will ask if like that I really need is the sped up Miyagi-Do version. It's played a couple times, but like when Robby's on the tree, it's
the forest stuff. Yeah, that stuff's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that's not on the album.
Or the when Chris and Demetri are
Is that
lifting
not
up.
in season 2? Is that not on the season 2
not
album?
on the-
We didn't put that on for some reason.
That one,
I don't know.
That's like my favorite one. So I have to.
We talk about that sometimes. How there's like this forest music that like you really only hear in episode 8, and there's a bit in season 2 when they're fixing up Miyagi-Do after it's been trashed, where there's something related to it. But like it is funny. It's not on the soundtrack, but it's got like a flavor. Man,
wow.
you really can tell from our youthful faces that a pandemic has happened since.
I mean, I was gonna say that's prime.
My hair is so. You
We-
look like Charles Manson.
I know that's prime. That is prime COVID era for me. Like, really.
I honestly look unrecognizable to that. I think.
You look like definitely 5 years younger.
Yeah,
So
if not more. So Drew, you got your wish.
I wanted to play that for you because I got my wish. I have to thank you guys, and I have to ask, like, did you remember at all that conversation when you put it on the tracker?
No.
Sorry,
but we've always wanted to include that in there too, and we had a really good spot to use that music this season, or like expand on that music this season. On the album, this is called Level 1 Karate, and it's when Daniel's giving Anthony the tour of Miyagi-Do.
Yeah,
in episode 7, 407, is it?
Yeah.
Or 408, 407?
It's so fun and uplifting.
Love that theme, and as you guys heard, I was like, guys, I don't want to be pushy, but like, give me that theme, give me the theme, and I have to thank you guys because I love that theme, and it just wasn't on the soundtrack. And I remember, I went back on the interview and I looked for that clip because I remember bringing it up to you guys.
That's really funny. That's so
amazing.
Funny.
That is really funny.
It's on there now.
I loved watching your reactions when you first saw the clip because I know you guys were reacting to like you're like that was from 1.5 years ago. So
wow, was that before season 3?
I haven't cut my hair since
yeah.
then.
Wow, was that pre-Netflix era?
No, it was.
Okay.
I think it was actually a couple days after.
Yeah, literally everything in my life, not just Cobra Kai, like everything in my life is separated from the pre and post Netflix era.
Yes.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, and Remember the Cage, and also just a lot of the soundtracks in season 4, because you had Terry Silver and KREESE once again reunited. You went back to a lot of the songs and tracks that we heard from season 3 during Vietnam. So what was it like re-exploring those tracks now with modern day KREESE and Silver?
Fun. The my favorite one is not Remember the Cage, but is Zach, what's the cue, the actual flashback cue called on the album?
Our Way is the Right Way?
Our Way is the Right Way? Is that it?
That's not a flashback. But that might be the track you're thinking of, but it's not a flashback.
Where's the one with young KREESE and young Terry?
Oh yeah, that is Our Way is the Right Way. Damn.
So what I like about that cue is we use Challenger from like the end of season 3, but it's in this like ghostly like guitar instead of piano playing the riff, and I think it's like a really nice thing. And then there are some like really gorgeous cellos playing the melody there. So it's fun to, one, do those flashbacks, and two, bring some of the Vietnam music, which is like very disturbing in a lot of ways, like out of Vietnam and into the present day for Terry's madness.
I love that we get to use Awake the Snake as kind of the like, whenever we do like the origins of Cobra Kai or like the early things, like that was one of the first things we ever wrote, and it didn't make it into season 1. And
I think some of those synth sounds, even like the Vietnam specific synth sounds, I think those are even in Like Old Time. Like we kind of start the season in a lot of ways, and this is the volume 2 soundtrack album. The opening track is called Like Old Times, and it starts with that kind of like, memory of military history sound. The War Buddies material.
Yeah, those tracks were definitely, it was really crazy to see, because we were so used to hearing those tracks for the flashbacks. So it was just weird to see Terry modern day with KREESE and hearing that same Awake the Snake theme from back in Vietnam all those years. And one of the tracks, which I absolutely love, I can't remember the name of it. Maybe you guys will remember, when KREESE is talking to Silver at the end of 407, telling him like, be careful where you go because there's a lot of minefields and might blow up. Like, do you remember that?
Yeah, everything is just like a little. I love when the relationship turns in 7, and like when it starts. That when one of my favorites is Weakness. That key weakness. He's like, everyone has a weakness, and then it cuts to KREESE, and he looks up and he goes, "Huh?" And we hit that look, and it's. I love that.
So great. He was amazing this season, Martin Cove. And
he always is.
Yeah. And Prom Punch Out actually brought back the return of Hallway Hellscape from the season 2 finale, which I thought was really cool. So what was it like bringing back that iconic theme? Why did you choose to bring that season 2 finale theme for this prom fight?
Prom Punch Out, I think, was the hardest cue of the whole season.
Really?
Like that one,
I agree.
That one was like, we had to hit. There's so many things to hit, both emotionally and literally, like on screen. Like you have to hit kind of all the different emotions that are happening with the characters. You go to Sam's perspective, you go to Robby's perspective, you go to Tory's, and then you also have to like hit what they're doing. Like, John, Josh, and Hayden like when we kind of like emphasize punches and kicks with music, and like, certain hits when people get thrown to the ground, we like to stop, and like all that kind of stuff that we've gotten used to. But there's a lot of storytelling in that one scene, and on top of that, it also has to be kind of like fun, and we gave
choreographed.
It felt like a dance, so we kind of had a little bit of like that Latin kind of like percussion in there. Like it's kind of like a wink and a nod, but that one felt like, oh, let's do that Hallway Hellscape kind of thing, because we don't hear it that often. And it definitely is. It's reminiscent of Hallway Hellscape, because it's the same people fighting each other. Right. But that was a difficult one.
So that was the hardest one in the whole track, the whole album.
I think so. In terms of just making sure we nailed it, because it was kind of such a specific thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I love all the details that you guys include in like the tracks. Like especially, I wanted to bring this up to you in Prom Punch Out. Zach, you mentioned the part where Sam and Miguel are together, then Robby and Tory are together. They're both looking at each other. You hear and then you hear like that, like the Latin clicking sound, like that you hear in like
castanet.
What's
castanets?
Castanets. Castanets, and you hear that in like dance, like you hear that in like Dancing with the Stars. Like I love that.
That was literally the inspiration.
Yeah.
Wait, where do you hear that? Like I'm not sure. Like what song?
It's in it's a Spanish percussion instrument. You hear it in a lot of like flamenco music. Is where you hear castanets.
Yeah.
Okay. So I found it really cool that you guys actually got to work with Carrie Underwood and score the moment of truth. So What was that experience like?
Carrie is awesome. She is like so talented and like such a pro to work with. You know, it was a blast. We recorded her vocals kind of in like the middle of COVID before there was a vaccine. So like it was really just us and her manager in the studio and our engineer just like uh you know, just there. And we when she did the first take of it, it was nearly perfect as is. And then we did more to like get certain performance things out of it, but like just as an example of like how amazing she is to work with, like it was great. The track itself we had done before recording her, and the idea there was to have like an 80s influenced but like updated sound. So it's kind of like a modern thing that has some 80s production added to it. And then because it's kind of such a giant even over the top moment, you know, with the montage and everything, obviously there's like orchestra and stuff in there too, because we just wanted it to feel kind of as gigantic as possible.
Zach?
Yeah, I mean, Leo said it all. It was like a total blast for us to do it, and just really fun. Leo and I love to kind of like produce songs like that. We don't get to do it too often, but when we do, it's really, really fun. And it made everyone really happy. Like John, Josh, and Hayden were super happy, and it was cool that we weren't in Atlanta when they shot it, but we recorded her before they shot it because she lip synced to herself when she was shooting in Atlanta. So everyone on set got to hear it, and it was a blast. It was just like, it was so much fun.
Are you guys gonna ever go to set? I really
I know. Well, honestly, like who knows how many more seasons they're gonna do? Like we gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta go to set at some point.
And it's just like, it's hard also right now because they're not, even if we went to Atlanta, I don't think they're just gonna like let us go because of COVID stuff. Like there's a whole protocol. But you know, I don't know if there's a season 6. Well, like we've got to go because who knows when it's gonna end.
Yeah, I can't wait for those behind the scenes pictures of you guys like at the Miyagi-Do dojo.
Yeah, I know. We gotta go. Oh man, it's gonna be sad if we never go.
Please, I really want you to. Did you guys score Cruel Summer for Carrie Kimmel in season 2?
No, we had nothing to do with that.
Okay, so but this one, did the writers come to you and say?
Yeah. Pretty early on, yeah. Because we had to do it before they shot, so it was very early.
Got it. So, what are your guys' top 5 soundtracks? Or from I'll say
I gotta pull up the
top 5 soundtracks. I did split it up, volume 1, volume 2. If you want, we could combine it to make it a little more.
Let's combine it.
It's a little very tough.
I made a list recently because I knew this question was going to come up, and now I can't remembe anything on it.
I'll give you mine while you guys are looking.
Okay, you give us yours.
Okay, so mine, I kind of cheated. I put 5 from volume 1, 5 from volume 2.
That's fine. Let's hear it.
All right. So top 5 from volume 1, Marching Orders, where you have the Challenger theme and then KREESE's theme. I love that. Mecha Robby, insane. Illegal Strike, which is like KREESE's redemption. That whole thing, I just love that scene, and the music just worked with it so well. It's Karate Time, and then My Right Way. So that's
nice.
Volume 1. What do you guys think of that list?
It's pretty solid.
It's a great list.
Ones that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I like that you like the deep cuts. Marching Orders is you like the KREESE material.
I like the KREESE material. I like the KREESE material. And then volume 2, number 1, basketball, obviously. Then I got level 1 karate. Sensei Silver.
Okay.
Always Be My Sensei.
For sure, I love that one.
So those and that was 5. So those are my top 5 for volume 2.
Was that 4?
That was only 4.
Sensei. Oh, I had Sensei Silver twice. Whoops.
Wow.
Oh, you know what? I had Cobra Fly on there, but I was like, my right
that's a good
way.
one.
My right way has
Yeah, it's
Cobra Fly in
same
it.
material.
I think okay, I'm gonna tell you mine. These are like my gut reaction. I'm not thinking super hard about it. Karate Time, Storm of Senses, Shirts Off, Breaking and Entering, and it's either Fangs of Fury or Bonsai Badass. I think probably Bonsai Badass.
I think mine are Karate Time, Shirts Off, which we should say, like, we had a guest guitar player named Tosin Abasi on that, who is he's in this metal band called Animals as Leaders that Zach and I are both huge fans of, and he's just like someone we've always wanted to work with because his sound is so unique. So that was just really fun for us to do. Storm of Senseis, and I'm a big Streets of Reseda fan.
Love that. Did you see Hayden's tweet?
Yeah, it was so great.
He
tagged
yes,
Leo in it. Yeah, he tagged Leo. Yeah, I'm glad you like the Sam stuff too, because we loved scoring Sam this season. We thought she had a great arc.
Yeah, she had an amazing arc.
That's actually a question I had. I might as well just ask you. Sam, like she had such a great transformation this season, and even with the music, like the electric guitars with her theme was insane. I always loved her theme. So what was it like kind of scoring Sam's transformation?
That's always the most fun, right? Like as Leo said, like it's
I think she was one of our favorites this season. Her dynamic with Johnny is great, and her kind of self-discovery and in what she wants her karate style to be was great, and that kind of stuff just provides a lot of inspiration to give us her arc was definitely my favorite character arc of the season.
Sure.
And music wise was a blast. I mean, you get My Right Way, you get Bonsai Badass, like both of those are basically like awesome music videos, like and it was so fun.
Now this question kind of this is from season 1. This is just jumping back, but in the Slither theme you hear the Miyagi-Do theme within Slither. Da, 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 da. So I'm curious, like, it was Johnny training Miguel, so why include that Miyagi-Do theme? Was it foreshadowing? Was there like a hidden message?
You maybe made that up, Drew. Unless I've never studied.
No, it's not. We didn't intend for it to be the Miyagi-Do theme, but it's like boom, 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 boom. Do 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 do. Yeah, it's really only those 3 notes that are the same. The do do do.
Drew, you're making it up.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, that's even deeper than we intended.
So that was not intentional.
That was not intended.
Dun 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 dun.
Well, Miyagi-Do is.
Yeah.
And this time it's bum bum. Yeah.
You know, we only have a finite amount of notes to work with, Drew. So sometimes the notes do have similarities, but I don't know if I agree with that. Did you like in Fight I Have to Face that's a runner-up in my favorites? Fight I Have to Face.
Oh, yeah, actually,
slow down.
Yeah, that should be in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
When the strings go.
Yes.
You guys were on sync with that.
Yeah.
And do you guys, I know you can't really talk about season 5, but Miguel is obviously going to Mexico, as we know. The score is probably gonna lean towards more of that Latin sound, to fit the Mexico environment. Would you guys say so? Like, what can you tease about?
We don't know yet.
We don't know. We
haven't even seen it. We don't know yet.
We don't know until
it's impossible to answer until we start writing.
Until we put pen to paper, we're just not gonna know.
So when do you guys start working on it?
Sometime in the near-ish future.
Yeah, because they're editing now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite a fast schedule from when we started season 4. Like the fact that we're doing it 2 in 1 year is wild.
Yeah. I'm so excited for that season 5 score because just like with the story, where the story is taking us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Us too.
Yeah, we don't know. I seriously, I just get like a pang of anxiety. It's excitement and anxiety, but just a little bit of just like knowing when we got to spot that finale. Whenever we spot the finale,
we know it's gonna be huge.
We get some preamble from everyone that's gonna be like, okay, like last year was really big, but like this year's gonna be bigger, and like just letting you know, like we've already been like it's gonna just letting you know it's gonna be bigger.
Do you guys think about like, I know you don't know what's going to happen, but like when you hear that Chosen is coming back to the show and you think of different possibilities, maybe he fights Terry Silver or maybe Daniel fights Terry Silver. Do you guys like have those fights or scenarios in your head? Like how would we score that if they were to approach that with us?
The thing about the show is like John, Josh, and Hayden do such a good job of like subverting your expectations for everything and everyone who comes back and all the characters, how they're going to relate to each other. So like part of us is giving up guessing, but Chosen was a favorite of ours last time. And so we are very excited to revisit him in whatever capacity that is. Again, we don't even know yet.
Yeah. Is there any chance, because we've heard that the writers are discussing doing spin-off shows, any chance you guys would be interested in scoring spin-off show?
Yeah,
of course.
We would love to. We're very protective of our material, so you know, and the characters. No one else is allowed to score the Bert's backstory. You know?
Yeah. I know we don't know anything about any of that, but I hope that, you know, just with the success of the show, that the guys get to do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it.
What have you learned most about yourselves from doing the score of Cobra Kai from season 1 to season 4? Like, how have you changed and evolved?
I think I'll answer first. I think I know.
Yeah, I feel like you're better at introspective questions.
Just give the extra Leo an extra 30 seconds. I think that as I kind of mentioned, like these finales, we watch them and they can be quite intimidating. And I mean, I just think of like watching season 4, and I just wonder if like me 4 years ago would have been able to tackle that season the way that we did it. And it takes every season to kind of just know that you can do that you're up to the challenge of working on such just like a ginormous story with huge scope and making it something that people enjoy. And I guess every season is just a nice reminder that like, oh yeah, like you can do it and like you've done it before, and just to like remember those feelings as you, not just Cobra Kai, like any project going forward, just to remember like, yeah, like we scored like a 70-minute 2-episode finale wall to wall. Like we could do anything.
Yeah, Zach kind of hit what I would say too. Like the scope is so big, and what I feel pretty strongly that like the score in 410, like I don't know, you could plop it into any huge movie and it would feel right at home. And I think like we just sat down and wrote it like anything, and kudos to our whole team of musicians that, you know, who eventually play on it. Like it like the whole thing just sounds so top notch. And I think it's hard to imagine like season 1 sounds great, I think. And when I go back and listen to that album, I'm always like, oh man, this sounds good. But like, I think if you had played season 4 for me 4 years ago or 5, you know, in 2017, when we were just starting this, and you're like, this is what it's going to sound like, I would have been like, oh my God, I don't know how to do that. How are we going to do that? But here we are.
It's definitely come a long way. It's like the growth from season 1 to season 4. Are you guys working on any other projects? Is there anything else we can look forward to in the future from you guys?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we've got a few things separately and together that are coming up. I have another show on the air right now called Good Sam, which is the total opposite of Cobra Kai. It is a CBS show, medical drama. Leo's got some great stuff.
I do the show Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. A lot of dinosaur music. Also on Netflix. That's a real blast to do.
We also we can't. Oh, sorry, Leo. Sorry.
Oh no, that's a go. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that we have something actually quite exciting that we can't announce on the show, but that we did together. That's coming out in a few weeks, I think.
Oh yes, that's true.
So that'll be cool.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Is it Cobra Kai related?
It's not Cobra Kai related.
It's not Cobra Kai related.
Completely unrelated to Cobra Kai, but it's something that we're very excited about.
Just a fun thing.
Both of you are working on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I'm sure you guys will be posting that on your social medias and stuff, right? So do you want to shout out where to follow you?
Yeah. Follow us. We love, if you already follow us, we love
Instagram engagement?
Yes, Instagram engagement. And I've been doing all these like Cobra Kai Twitter threads, like breaking down the themes in every episode. I got a few episodes left. So you can find me at Leo Birenberg, both on Twitter and Instagram.
I'm at Zach Robinson on Twitter and at ZRobUSA on Instagram.
So guys, you heard it right there. Follow Zach and Leo. I just want to thank the both of you so much for coming on. 3 interviews, and this was definitely the best one. Just the season 4 score I've been listening to on repeat. Basketball. Love it.
Great,
Love
man.
basketball.
We always enjoy talking
someone
to you.
needs to make the 6-hour loop of basketball.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like we love whenever we discover our tracks to the loops for
hours.
Make basketball ones.
I love that the Quiver Extended, which is just the same minute and a half, has like 1.5 million views, and our actual Quiver Extended has like 30,000 views.
People want the hour version.
I know, they want the hour version. I know. Well, thank you, Drew. Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. And thank you to everyone for donating to the Best Friends Animal Society. We really appreciate it. And if you still want to donate, you can by clicking the donate button below. So thank you to Zach and Leo for joining me. And
remember, Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai never dies.
Never dies.
Cobra Kai never die.
I hope you guys have a great rest of your
day. Have an awesome week.
You too, guys. Take
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. That was awesome.